Welcome back to my channel. This is your favorite psychic medium and metaphysician, Dr. D. Oracle. And I wanted to come on today and talk about ancestor work. The ancestors have been on me, and we need to be reminded about our indigenous thought processes. We have pretty much lost those, because of this Jesus psychology and pathology that has been placed upon us by religion that was given to us by the oppressors. Okay, so one of the things we have to start to understand and realize is that everything is not about tradition, but it is about the thought processes that the ancestors have given us. Whether they be negative or positive, those thought processes have to be refined. They have to be transcended, and they have to be transmuted into more positive energy. Okay? So today I want to talk about why that is important. Why is ancestor work important? Why are we setting up ancestor altars? Why are we leaving food offerings? Why are we burning ancestor money? Why are we going through the ancestors to heal? What is it about ancestor veneration that came from our indigenous roots, okay, that was so spiritual and so uplifting, so that it helped us in a way or enlightened us? I'm going to talk about that today, okay? Now, when I say indigenous thought processes, a lot of what indigenous spiritual systems were based on was keeping the balance with ancestors and nature, okay? That meant whenever we took things, we replaced them. When we did use hunting so that we could find food, we used every part of an animal. Okay, we didn't waste. Okay, so that means we didn't have a lot of trash. Okay, and one of the things that I talk about on this channel is how the new systems that we are living by, that we're catering to, they've increased pollution, which has in turn increased illness. Which has internally been because of a buildup of trash, or using things from the environment and not replacing them, not finding a good system to replace things or put things back. That's why we have things like sinkholes, okay? And so one of the things that we start to copy from our oppressors is the need for science and to prove everything, when we already had a system that not only proved everything, but it helped to keep things in place so that when our future descendants, who eventually are us, because our ancestors reincarnate back through our bloodline, okay? So we left something so that not only could we enjoy that now, but our future descendants and those who would come after us, ourselves as other people in our bloodline, okay? This is the cycle of life, okay, that our ancestors knew about. But we would come back to something on the planet, okay? When we're talking about generational wealth, we're talking about building something so that our descendants or our lineage could be birthed into a better financial position, which in turn, when we incarnate through that lineage, we would come back into a better financial position, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, work with the ancestors when it comes down to healing even equates to us reincarnating in a healthier bloodline. If we can heal illness, if we can heal pathologies that put us in positions of lack, if we can heal mental illness that makes us see reality for what it is once we've completed that work, that is the purpose of reaching out to ancestors. That is the purpose of venerating ancestors who can see farther than we can see. We can only think for today. A lot of people, and I don't want to disrespect anyone, but I do feel like they're idiots, especially the people who are saying, oh, I'm not going to get married, or they're having children and they're not trying to create better families. It's like saying you don't care about the future. It's like saying you don't care if you have a healthy bloodline to reincarnate into. A lot of people who subscribe to Jesus pathology, they think that salvation is just for themselves. Salvation is for your bloodline. And this is one of the main reasons that we work with ancestors. Because if we're doing healing with the ancestors in the afterlife, they also can come back and reincarnate back into their bloodline, and now their bloodline is healthy because of the work that we've put in and we've done. We've talked to our ancestors. We've saw the mental illness in our family. We've saw the need to create some type of generational wealth, and we start to work on those things. And our ancestors on the other side, they help influence people here that put us in a better position. They actually help us gain favor with people. So that favor turns into offers and opportunities and open doors. This is the purpose of doing money work with your ancestors, right? Why you have a prosperity and abundance altar, right? You are working in the spiritual realm to manifest here, so that when they come back and reincarnate, they've improved things here. Not just, like I said, for your children or your children's children or their children, but for all of us who are coming back and reincarnating on the planet to have another human experience, okay? I don't have anything against gay people, but what I do want to say is that if we're being selfish enough to only live a lifestyle where we're not procreating, there is going to be an issue with fertility in your bloodline. There's going to be an issue with being able to reproduce, okay? And that equates to sometimes an ending in the bloodline. And I'll talk about what happens to that specific bloodline, okay, when they're cut off, okay? I'll talk about that on another video, and I would like to hear your opinions on this in the comment section. Tell me what you think, okay? But this also brings me to what people are saying about, oh, if you contact certain ancestors, they're going to wreak havoc in your life. What I can tell you that I personally know about this spiritual walk is that spirits see way farther than us, because we have a veil, okay, over our awareness. So once you cross into the afterlife, you no longer have that veil. So you can see things for what they really are, and you can see farther ahead than any human. So all of our ancestors know that they'll be reincarnating, and so they want to help in some type of way so that they can create a situation where when they reincarnate, they have good health, they have good mental health, they have good financial health, or they have wealth, okay? So there would be no reason for an ancestor to wreak havoc on their own bloodline. Okay? I think people have had certain experiences that they don't quite understand. Once you grow in your spirituality, then you grow in understanding some of those indigenous thought processes that I talked about as far as keeping the balance, and you understand that the universe is all mental. So even our ancestors working in this reality, they are a psychic energy, and they are using psychic awareness, psychic ability, psychic power, okay, to do certain things for you or gain favor for you, okay? That is the purpose of why we're doing hoodoo, okay? You know, we incorporate all these things into a system so that we are exchanging energy with the ancestors and we're keeping the balance. So they're not doing everything. We're doing some things and then they're doing some things. We make a step and then they make two, okay? So I just wanted to bring that up. I also wanted to bring up the fact that y'all need a spinal tap, okay? Intuition is another form of intelligence, and that is how our ancestors communicate with us. That is how they deal with us, through our intuition, okay? So we do need to have good gut health, because gut feelings and receiving things through the gut, that is one of the ways that our spine helps us to get these messages. We also need a spinal tap. And when I say that, that means tapping into your kundalini, getting moments of silence, doing meditation, sitting at your ancestor altar, and allowing that quiet time to be for you to make connections with your ancestors. The dead don't speak to us in the same way that living people do. And so because of that, we have to be able to expand our awareness enough so that we're sensitive to get our messages. Either that, or we have to go to someone like myself, where in every indigenous tribe and culture there would be someone who would be like a bridge to that rim, so you could communicate with the other side. You could understand what ancestors are with you and different signs that they are leaving for you. A lot of people don't understand how to verify that. That is what mediumship pretty much is for. A lot of people use it like a game because they want to see if it's real or whatever. But no, we're supposed to be using these things to help us to improve our spiritual awareness, so that our ancestors and ourselves could keep reincarnating back through a line of stock that is constantly improving itself, okay? So I just wanted to really bring some clarity for what it is and why it is important to do ancestor work, to have an ancestor altar, to connect with those who came before you, okay? It's not just about your own salvation. It's about the salvation of your entire bloodline. Your children, their children, and all the children that are coming after. Because one of those children is going to be you again. And one of those children are going to be your ancestors again that you're communicating with now, or you're putting that work in. And if you're not putting that work in, you've got work to do. That is one of the things that also helps our intuition and our awareness for our protection in this reality. This is going to help with your telepathy, so that you're able to read people's minds and understand when they're lying to you or when there's something that isn't right. Your ancestors download you with experiences as well, so that you're protected from some of the same experiences that they've gone through that have pretty much ruined their lives or caused them to make a bad decision that the outcome was like mental illness, or the outcome was physical illness. Okay, this is your spiritual protection at work, basically. So through the ancestors, you accomplish so much. And they improve your awareness so that you start to understand the higher realities of things. And one of the higher realities is that life is a cycle. You're going to live, you're going to die, you're going to reincarnate, live, die, you're going to reincarnate, live, die. All of your ancestors are going through this cycle as well. And we want to be able to come back to some type of generational wealth, to have something when we come here, so that we don't have to work so hard for the oppressors. Okay, so when we are thinking of the ancestors and we're thinking of hoodoo, we're thinking of our indigenous practices and principles, we have to learn that working with ancestors is so that we can keep the balance of the cycle of life and continue to improve our human stock, okay? While at the same time, we are activating some of our DNA to make us exist on higher planes, okay? Higher realms. You know how they say fourth density, fifth density, the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension. Well, I'm going to do another video on DNA activation, and I've touched on that a little bit. But DNA activation is about evolution. And one of the things that we have to understand, that 1,000 human years is like one day in the universe, okay? And so all of these improvements, advances, you know, when we're transmuting this energy, we're transcending. In future generations, thousands or millions of years ahead, if we can keep our lineage going and we don't get cut off, we end up evolving to higher states of intelligence, awareness, spiritual evolution. And so when we're experiencing different cycles of consciousness, our seeds are protected, okay? They're preserved, okay? That's what you kind of call like living arcs, you know, like Noah's Ark. Well, a living ark is someone who is able to tap into all of this memory and hold this memory inside of them, and then continue to reproduce so that the next person inherits those abilities. And that's why you do have some families where people are naturally spiritually gifted, clairvoyants, people who have dreams and, you know, different things like that. Their ancestors had been working on something spiritual and passed that along to them in their DNA. So they didn't have to work as hard to tap in. Some people are kids coming here with those abilities, okay? They've done work in their past lives, okay? So they've also inherited some type of genetic uplift, okay? So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that for a minute and give everybody kind of like a 360-degree view of why we need to be doing ancestor work and why that was common in indigenous cultures and how that kept a balance, okay, with salvation, okay, and how Jesus psychology has taken that perspective away from us and has made salvation some type of personal endeavor that sometimes divides us, because some of our families are so deep into that, and if you're not into that, you know, they feel indifferent towards you. They may discriminate against you, okay? But the universe doesn't discriminate against anyone. There's no respect of persons. The universe doesn't hold anyone higher than anyone else, no matter what your religion or your deity is, okay? Every time I communicate with people on the other side, no matter what religion they are, they answer back. So that shows that everlasting life is not dependent, okay, on your religious choice. What it is dependent on is your ability to venerate your ancestors and continue to do ancestor work and continue to provide good families for our ancestors to reincarnate into. Thank you so much, family, for taking the time out to listen. Make sure you click on the like and subscribe buttons and that little bell if you like the content of my channel and you want to be notified when I upload new videos. Peace out. Thanks for watching.